I think Views apparently turned 3 years old this week. What how do you, is it
It's a great album.
as you have you listened to it since? I mean, do you have different like a perspective of it? Or is it you still have the same opinion that you thought about it?
Um, my perspective has changed on Views actually. I felt like when Views first, like when it first dropped, I was like, that's alright. We got some songs on there, and they continue to grow on me. And now I guess it's 3 years old now, so it's like to me, it's a bit of a classic. You know,
Ooh.
when you think of just some of the songs that you could.
I don't think Mike Mike agree with that. What
Ooh.
I mean, hey,
I want to hear him out. I want to
I'm
hear
gonna
him
tell you
out.
why.
My bad, my bad.
You got songs like, Western Road Flows. You got I won't necessarily say Grammy, but Grammys is a great song. Coming off of just him and Future collaborating on
Yeah.
that. What a Time to Be Alive, and continued that vibe just a little bit. But like I said, Western Road Flows. You had Child's Play, immediate classic, Controller, One
That's a
Dance.
tune.
I mean, it provided so much vibes. Is you with me or what? So it was real vibey, and I liked it. Too good. Summer's
Yeah.
over. It's just Hotline Bling. Was on that.
That shit
So
Hotline Bling don't
dominated.
count. That don't count.
Why
Hotline
not?
Bling
why
don't
does it
count.
not
Okay, it
count?
dropped before.
He dropped that song
So
as
guys,
just a
does it
song
count
for the
as well?
radio.
Uh-huh.
It took
So
off so
you
well
doesn't
that
count
he
on Thank
added
Me
to the
Later?
song. Huh?
Over and Miss Me don't count on Thank Me Later.
No, those
Mine
count
doesn't
because
count
those
on
are
Take
actual
Care.
track. Those are actual track cuts, album cuts. Those are actual album cuts. Like when he dropped the Hotline Bling, he dropped that with a couple more songs. I think I can't think of the names of them, whatever. But he dropped them before the album was even thought out.
Wasn't it? I mean, didn't he?
But I
was
mean,
like,
it
was
did
like a
it did.
lineup. It was Hotline Bling. It was like Controller.
But
it was
but
the original
no
version
no
with
no.
Popcorn.
It was
Was it not like Pop Style? The original version with the Throne.
no, Hotline Bling came out
Way
ways
before
before
that?
that. Yeah,
Uh,
it came out like a few months before all of those started rolling out.
So even though it's on the album, you
I
don't
mean,
categorize it.
it did great. Listen,
so
hold on, hold
now,
on.
just tell me this. Just be honest. How you feel about it? Because you said,
I mean, you called it
That's
a you called it a classic.
because it has
Me,
classical tunes.
I mean, it had some of the biggest songs of Drake's career on it.
Hence, classic.
It's probably my least favorite of all of his records.
I heard you say that earlier. I'm glad you said it's
And
live on there. I want to hear
and
the reasoning
and like
behind
I don't. I'm trying to figure out like okay, when I say least favorite, I'm not saying like oh it's a bad project or whatever. I'm just saying like it was. I feel like he was in a dark place when he made that album.
You think so?
I think he was in a dark place dealing with the ghostwriting allegations, the situation with him and Meek. Um, sonically it sounded great. I don't know. For me, it's just my least favorite of all the Drake projects. Even though Western Road Flows is probably one of my favorite Drake songs, like in the list of all of his whole catalog.
Okay.
I just feel like I don't know if I can call Views a classic. I don't know if I can call Views a classic.
I think calling Views a classic.
It's too early
I
right now.
think one is too early. I think 3 years is worthy enough to be talked about.
Yeah.
And so definitely nothing wrong with that. Now, as far as the classic, that's a heavy word.
Now, the reason why I say it's a classic
Uh-huh.
is you always gonna remember something that kind of made the person, right? So
Right.
if that possesses some of his biggest records,
Mhm.
that's why I say it's a classic. It's going to be a classic. It's a lot of
So
his records that
classics-
you want to hear.
So it's a classic in terms of Drake's
term of
career,
hits?
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
man is a. I mean,
I mean, we know he a hit maker. Everything he put out is a hit.
it's like that player that you was like future Hall of Famer. It's like we know.
You know
come
it's
on,
coming.
we know
You
he's
know it's
going to the
coming.
Hall of Fame. So it's like So that's what I'm saying. It's more so from the classical perspective.
Nah,
Of like, it doesn't carry all the accolades, but it's funny enough it doesn't. But when you think about the actual structure of an album, that is considered one of Drake's albums, and
Yeah.
that's actually a better one of his albums because of how the structure was. I felt like it was very Nah, let me back up and say I was gonna say I feel like it's very cohesive, but it was cohesive in ways.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I say I continue to use the word vibes because that's what it was. It was a certain
It gives
kind
a
of
certain
vibe.
vibe, yeah.
And I mean, you were right. He did it. He did say that he was in a dark place when he was writing Views. He said it on More Life.
Yeah.
I think that was Do Not Disturb. He, what did he say? You know, I was different. You when I was writing Views, I probably self-destructed if I ever lose. I never do. Something like that. So I mean, he did say that. I mean, it's funny that you picked it up in the music. I picked it up too, but I still like the vibe of it. I guess it was just different. I feel like it's when he took the legend turn at that point in his career. Like I feel like it was very pivotal.
So that even with Views was on the album when you said Controller, when he dropped that, everybody started with the ghostwriting allegations. Everybody was talking about how he's biting styles now. He's in the Caribbean with the Jamaican dancehall type thing, which I don't really see a problem with.
I'm Jamaican. I don't see a problem.
Exactly.
I don't see a problem with it.
I don't see the problem with diversifying yourself and wanting to explore different things. Everybody at some point have done it. It works good for some people. Yeah. Drake is winning with his exploration and stuff like that, and with collabing with UK artists, with collabing with Wizkid and them, Nigeria, Jamaica and stuff. It's just diversifying your portfolio. Now that's the way to do it if you're gonna do it. Now we've got certain artists who have tried the same thing. It didn't work out quite as well, right? And it's not like Drake is like he totally transformed and like, no, this is my lane now. This is what I'm doing. What it is, he's got like a tune here, a tune there with like some island vibe, some African vibe. Give you, Busta Wine. Busta Wine is probably gonna be my catchphrase on this podcast because there's just things like that. He's got tunes where you having a good time with it.
He's definitely a great artist.
Yeah, and he's got tunes where you reflect. He's got where he's critical of himself. He's got tunes where he's vulnerable with like Jaded, for example, where he just laid it out there or what he was feeling. Drake has not been shy about his feelings.
I'll tell you.
So that's why a lot of people can relate to Drake, and that's why I consider him as probably one of my great artists of all time. I won't say the great in my category. I will tell you this: if I have to list my top five, I would say Gucci is number one in my book, hands down.
You talking about like rappers?
My favorite rapper of all time, Gucci, straight up.
So we doing top five?
I'm doing my top five. Obviously, y'all can. Since I said Drake is up there. Gucci is number one, hands down, straight up.
I mean,
okay. 50 is probably number two for me. Drake is number three, and that's a tough choice between 50 and Drake. But 50 reminds me of my childhood. Growing up with, that's when we had the posters on the wall in the bedroom versus like going to the internet. Exactly, you see it, you don't know the lives of, like, now everybody's lives is out there on the social media. But back then you had a poster with him posing in front of a car, like the bullet through the glass and shit like that. You looking at it, it's like you want to imitate these guys.
That's when you buy albums and
exactly.
It come with the albums will come with the little shit
little
inside of it,
package.
the little extra shit
That's
on the deluxe album. You hang your post up.
Exactly. So there's nostalgia with 50, and I think back to those days, and I wanted to be 50 Cent for sure. So that's how he averages out Drake in that number 2 and number 3, and number 4 has got to be Ti. Yeah, number 4 for me has got to be Ti. And number five in my top 5. This is a tough one. I think Dre is in there, Andre 3000, and that's it for me.
That's a nice list. That's a nice list.
That's how I label it.
That's a nice list.
Gucci is number 1 for sure.
Come on, Mike. I want to hear your list.
This is a complicated topic for me because when we talking top 5, are we talking like my favorite or
your favorite?
Okay, my favorite top 5. My favorite number 1 off rip. It's probably
pump
it up. Nah. Number 1, I say this all the time. Number 1 is Lupe Fiasco.
Okay.
I put no other pen person above him. Number 2, 50. Like, you know, everybody that knows me personally knows that, you know, I'm like probably the biggest G Unit fan out here. Drake, of course. I'm probably one of the biggest Drake's fan. Now we coming down to the nitty gritty.
This is where it gets tough.
It gets tough because because I've given you like my top 3. You know, Lupe, 50, Drake. Those are the people that I like. Okay, yeah. All right. So now I'm gonna give you like my 2. Ice Cube. Ice Cube is in my top 5.
Okay.
Number 5, I'll probably have to say.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's tough when you put on the spot like that.
Man,
It's tough when you put on the spot like that.
Man, I'm gonna put myself in top 5, man. That's
Mike
how
Soul.
That's how I'm gonna do it.
Mike Soul.
Nah.
Really fucking rapping.
Top man. That's a tough topic, man. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Crit, since you're from Mississippi.
Crit is one of my favorites, but top 5.
You gotta shoot. George said his 5. Okay.
Who I say? Lupe, 50, Drake, Ice Cube. I'm gonna go with Common Sense.
Wow.
Common Sense.
That came out of nowhere, but I would tell you straight up that I can agree with that.
That's calm. Okay.
I told you. The Tizza, the Curator.
You guys
What's
know
going
what
on?
I'm gonna say.
Alright.
So it's Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Drake, J. Cole. Number 5, Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace.
Nipsey Hussle.
Nips.
All money in.
That's
Nipsey
it.
Hussle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
And
tough-
it's not even in that order, but
It's,
those are that's my top 5 right there. If I was gonna put it in
That's
order,
a tough topic, man.
that
I
would
couldn't.
be tough for me.
Cause it's so, man.
it's so many. That's the thing. It's like
Is
you
it-
know who your favorite rapper is.
Yeah, you know who
You
your
know
favorite
who your favorite
is.
rapper is. You know who next favorite is. Number 3, yeah, you probably do know. And then when you get to the 4 and the 5s,
What makes it tough for me is, like, my favorite opposed to who I know or who I feel
should be
is
there.
the best.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, these are my favorite. But even though, like Drake is my favorite artist out right now. Like, number 1, I put no one above him right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that he's the best rapper to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I love all his music. Anything Drake puts out, I'm blasting. But he's not the best rapper to me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say Lupe Fiasco is like the best rapper ever to me. Even though, you know what I'm saying? But
So Lupe is the best rapper to you. I like it's a like those were my favorites. Those are my top 5.
yeah,
Now, in the grand scheme of things, and when you got to consider a lot of things when it comes to like labeling and like legendary status and
Yeah.
stuff. You got to look at influence. You got to look at
that's also a big thing.
what their achievements,
Yeah, the influence, the impact.
the impact
Of
that
course,
they've
the
had.
accolades matter. The actual skill and talent level.
Yeah.
What about longevity? What do you think?
I was just about to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's literally what I was
I
just about
think-
to say.